And what they did was they sent out, Brian is in urgent need of help, to everybody on his friends list. Told the story about how Brian was in England and had been robbed, him and his wife on vacation. He didn't have the money to pay for the hotel. He didn't have the money to buy food. He was reaching out to his friends for help. And as part of that reach out, the message said, "This is the Western Union where if you're willing to send money to me, I'll be able to go pick it up." Two of his friends posted $3,500. Somebody walked into the Western Union with a fake ID that said Brian Rutberg and walked out with the money. Simple scam. All it entails is sending out mass messages to all of your friends stating you need help. And if they're a real friend, they'll probably try to help. Now, sometimes we have to concern ourselves with people that have something against you. Maybe it's a jilted ex-lover, former co-worker. Maybe it's somebody that as an employee you fired. Somebody who is upset with you. And here's a perfect example in Tacoma. Gentleman was getting ready to go on vacation, figures he's going to have some fun, go away, get some rest, relaxation, and he gets a phone call on his cell phone, and a lady asks about the health of his horse. He says, "Why are you worried about the health of my horse?" And she said, "Well, I'm responding to the Craigslist ad, and I'm here to pick your horse up. I'm kind of concerned if he has any health problems before I take him." He's like, "What are you talking about, the Craigslist ad?" Somebody posted a Craigslist ad that said that he suddenly had to leave town and was leaving all of his possessions, and all you had to do was come pick him up. People were walking down the driveway with his possessions when he was able to get home. His horse was gone. He had no idea how to get his stuff back, with the exception of the few people that were still standing there. All of his worldly possessions, or most of them at that time, were already gone. Somebody just posted an ad. Somebody didn't like him for whatever reason.
Hey, I'm Steve, and I love the new stalking features on Facebook. Now I can keep up with all the girls I'm obsessed with, like who they become friends with, whose walls they sign, groups they join, pictures they put up, even their relationship status. Hey look, what do you know? Jeff and Amanda just broke up. Now she's single. That makes my life a whole lot easier. Facebook even supplies you with their mailing address, so I can send letters and go to their house and surprise them on their birthday. All you have to do is copy and paste. Amanda's birthday's coming up next Saturday. It looks like she lives in a townhouse area, so parking should be a piece of cake. I figured I'd park up here by the cars, walk down to the back of her house, and circle around to the front. She'll be so surprised. With all these new Facebook features, I can get so much accomplished in the comfort of my own home. Thanks, Facebook, for making what I do free, legal, and 150% successful.
So, what'd you think of that video? How easy was that for him to actually stalk that girl just through going through the internet, going through her social networking site? Sometimes it's not that type of enemy we have to worry about, and we might have to look at an enemy like a terrorist or an enemy organization, not a stalker, that wants to do us harm. Some of the things that they look for are more related to location, who's important, the function, capabilities, especially network details, because a lot of times they'll have people within their organization that will go into the systems to find information on our computer systems. Now, the next step of the OPSEC process is vulnerabilities. These are weaknesses an adversary can exploit to get your critical information. Remember, that's what they want, your information. The biggest vulnerability? You. You're the problem. Like I said in the beginning, social networking sites aren't bad. Inherently, they don't matter. They're just a site. But you post. Some of the people that are watching this video right now might have spent a little bit of time at a help desk or working through an internet company. If you've done that type of work, you've probably heard of the acronym PEBCAC. The problem exists between the keyboard and chair. You're the problem. Stop posting so much information that is critical to you, your company, your organization, your industry. Adversaries are looking, trust me. They'll find it if you put it there. So let's take a quick case study. This is a very simple case study about blogs. Now, some people that are watching this, you might be a blogger. I'm a blogger. I don't have a problem with blogging. Blogging inherently as well is not bad. Stupid bloggers, that's where the problem is. So I randomly went up on Google and typed in the word blog, and I got a catalog that was a blog catalog. And within the search engine of the blog catalog, I typed in one search term, Iraq. I got a list of thousands of sites. I decided to pick one that caught my interest. I've deleted the subject name for obvious reasons. You'll see that in a minute. It's a story about a boy and his dog. I originally had blacked off the dog's face because I figured he must be pretty embarrassed about having an idiot for an owner. The lawyers made me block off the sergeant's face there. I personally was going to leave it up there. He had posted it on the internet. I figured it was fair games, but the lawyers determined, no, that's not good business, Scott. So, anyways, I followed their orders. But what he posted was the fact that he was a sergeant and his last name. He's an airborne paratrooper. I deleted his infantry unit because he didn't. He's a team leader in the infantry line squad with that unit. He's a 25-year-old male from Phoenix, Arizona, and ladies, brace yourselves, he's a Sagittarius. Just in case you want that kind of information. Anyways, he goes on to have a bunch of pictures of this dog having full run of the compound. In the background, there's pictures of the gates. There's pictures of security details. There's pictures of lots of other soldiers. Doesn't need to be there. It's still about a man who just wants to bring his dog home from Iraq back home to Phoenix. Up on the site, he talks about the dog was a stray. He's become the troop's mascot. Troops are highly attached to the dog. The dog is highly attached to the troops. Within the blog, he has a forum section. His first name was listed under somebody's comments, Edward. He also talks about the timing of the company's movements. Every time the company is ready to go out on patrol, 2 days prior to the patrol starting, Edward would post that they were getting ready to go out on patrol. This was common. I was able to locate information on his website through the blog of all the different times they'd gone out on patrol for the previous 3 to 4 months. Again, 2 days prior, he would begin posting. Other information was easily found through such ways as White Pages, Zaba Search, a bunch of different ways that are out there that are open source, which you don't really need to be much of a ninja to figure out. So, I went out and did a little research. Turns out, a news organization in Phoenix had decided to do a human interest story on Edward and his dog. Okay. They interviewed Edward's mom, Carol. Carol, with their last name, mentioned where they lived, how important it was for her son to bring this dog home. It was a very touching story. So I went out and did a little more of that open source, found where Carol lived, found her phone number. I gave Carol a call and said that I was from whatever channel I decided to use, and said that I'd like to do an update on her son Edward and his dog. The only thing Carol was concerned about was, did I have her correct address, and could I be there by 2 o'clock on Thursday? Had I been a terrorist, had I been after something other than an interview, and I had been actually in Arizona instead of sitting in Baltimore, things could have turned out a little bit differently. Realize, information has obvious consequences. You've got to be careful about the types of things you put up there. So not only did he put himself and his dog at risk, he put his entire company at risk, and he put his mom at risk. Again, it's just a simple, beautiful story about a boy and his dog. So, your public posts, are they visible or not? Well, your posts are about as invisible as this kid hiding behind the tree. Understand, they're not invisible. You post it, it's getting out. It's being posted other places. As we said, there's organizations that are reposting information. So understand, be careful. Your posts aren't public, but if you're doing Twitter or blogs, that's intentional. You know they're being put out in public. But a lot of stuff is ending up there accidentally through MySpace, Facebook, LinkedIn, Classmates. The list goes on and on. There's new sites set up all the time. So understand, your information is becoming a lot more public than you had intended. If you're not willing to sit down and try to find out about the technical vulnerabilities, such as the settings and how to properly set up your security, you're being about as useful as that lock, because your settings aren't helping you. Right now, if you have done very little or nothing with your security settings, they're wide open and everybody is able to see. It's your responsibility. It's your site. You need to get in there and fix it. Sometimes what happens is we've got pictures that are being downloaded as it shows. MySpace, 17 gigabytes of pictures that people thought were private were posted up on BitTorrent. 17 gig. That's a lot of gig. That's a lot of pictures. You thought they were private. They ended up being posted. So be careful about those settings. Not necessarily even having settings done correctly is going to solve the problem. Maybe it's what you're posting as far as should it even be there. Another way that we're finding that there's issues is people are downloading apps. How many people that are watching the video right now have gone out to try to find out what's your gangsta name? I know a lot of people have. But you just downloaded an app. You opened yourself up to the owner or the developer of the app and gave that person access to your friends list, your photos, your profiles, etc. You could have potentially given that person your cookie that has all of your login information. Depends on what the app was after. You didn't read the fine print, did you? You just thought it was cool. Let's take the test. Let's take the quiz. Let's download the app. 90% of the apps on Facebook have unnecessary access to your private data. Be careful about the apps you download. Now, I know every time I go out and this person that I'm talking to has their picture, I know for sure that that's what she looks like because, well, that's what the picture shows. She couldn't possibly be that dork off to the right. I mean, look at that guy. I'd hide that picture too. But you need to take a look at it from the fact is, why is this person trying to remain anonymous? Has it something to do with intentionally deceiving you, like trying to make you believe that he looks like her? Or does he do it like I do, where I intentionally don't post my real name because I'm protecting my information? I don't know. It depends on what you're doing it for. Some of the problems we see consistently line up with wireless. Most people have wireless at home. It's no problem. Do you have any firewalls? Do you even have security settings set up on your wireless at home? What about if you're out in a public hotspot like internet cafe, maybe at the airport? How about your hotel that you stayed at? Did you go down to the business center? Did you log in? Did you go out and look at your Facebook? I hope you did, but I hope when you're done, you actually learned how to log out. You learned how to delete your cookies. You actually learned how to get rid of the files that you saved, to get rid of the history. That's part of using a public computer. I'm not saying don't use the computers, but you need to learn how to use them properly. Every time that I go out and do assessments or surveys, we go and check the computers in the hotels that we're staying at. We'll find files, we'll find emails, we'll find cookies, we'll find access to government sites because people have not bothered to properly delete things correctly.